What's up guys, JJ here, and it's time for another FM virtual stadium tour. That's right, I'm back and feeling better than ever, so let's get on with this. And as some of you may have already guessed today, we are taking a look around the Stadio Olimpico, the home stadium of both AS Roma and SS Lazio. And as always for you, my first fact today is the overall capacity of this stadium, and it is 72,698. So it's nothing to be laughed at, quite a large stadium. And yes, as I already said, this is the home stadium for both Roma and Lazio, however you pronounce that. But anyway, let's take a look around the stadium, and as we're doing that, I might get into the history of it. Fingers crossed. As you can see, it's one single tier. It's just one huge tier throughout the whole stadium, and nothing to be laughed at. It looks actually quite good considering what it is and how simple it is. So yeah, I'm quite impressed with it, even though it's quite an old single tier stadium. Anyway, speaking of how old it is, this stadium was built to serve as the centrepiece of the Foro Italia sports complex, which means basically there's this whole sports complex with several arenas, and this is meant to be the big centrepiece of it. Construction of it started in 1928. And it was finished, that first bit was finished by 1932. They were planning to do a second tier, but then the Second World War happened, and that's kind of a bit more important than building a stadium, even if Italy did swap sides halfway through. Unpopular opinion. Anyway, yeah, the work on the second tier was halted, and was only resumed in December 1950, by which time I guess they decided that a second tier was stupid, they should just do one big one. The Stadio Olimpico officially opened again on the 17th of May 1953, with a match between two national teams, Italy and Hungary. The capacity at that time was for that match was actually over 100,000. But you have to remember that this was with terraces, so everybody was standing up, and everybody was packed in like sardines. It was far less safe than it is today. So you have to take that overall attendance with a pinch of salt, because if we fast forward a few years to 1960, we actually see that when this stadium was chosen to host the opening and closing ceremonies for the Olympics, and chosen to do all the athletic stuff, as often happens, the capacity was actually lowered to 53,000 when they put the seats in. So that 100,000 really was kind of over the top and really packing people into the stadium. Anyway, we move 8 years on from the 1960 Olympics to 1968, where the European Championships were held in Italy, and this very stadium, the Stadio Olimpico, held the third place playoff and the final. The final being between Italy and Yugoslavia. Obviously that country doesn't exist anymore. Italy won 2-0, but it did need a replay. After those 1968 championships, the stadium remained hugely unchanged until the European Championships came back to Italy in 1980. It was slightly renovated just to update it to make sure it was completely safe for those championships, as often happens between these kind of events. But during the 1980 championships, it hosted 3 group matches and the final between West Germany and Belgium. West Germany did, of course, win that. Between 1977 and 1984, it actually hosted 2 European Cup finals, the sort of thing we would call nowadays the Champions League finals. The first one in 1977 was between Liverpool and Borussia Mönchengladbach. Liverpool did win that 3-1. Woo, go Liverpool, you English team. The second one in 1984 was hosted between Liverpool once again and AS Roma, and it was a 1-1 draw. I think AS Roma, of course, playing on home turf for that final, but I do believe Liverpool did win the trophy again. So quite a happy ground for Liverpool then. We then fast forward to 1990, when Italy was awarded the 1990 World Cup, of course. And by this point the stadium was getting quite run down, quite old, things were falling apart, and it clearly wasn't as safe as it should be. So it was clear that massive renovations were going to be needed. And while initial plans aimed to refurbish the stadium, a few residents around the stadium, around the sort of area where it is, they put a plan forward that a brand new stadium would be built, supposedly because they wanted it to look fresh, brand new and shiny. Because, you know, people are exactly the same as Magpies. Anyway, whatever they did, I think they did actually completely rebuild it in the end, which resulted in an overall capacity of close to 74,000 by the end of the renovations or the rebuilding. During that 1990 World Cup, the Stadio Olimpico hosted all three of Italy's group matches, so they were playing effectively on home soil in the Stadio Olimpico, and it also hosted a round of 16, a quarter-final match, and the final between Germany and Argentina, which Germany once again won 1-0. So Germany and Liverpool, we're finding out, have great success in this stadium. As I just take you around the stadium once more, just to see how lovely it is. After that, we move forward to 2007, when we find the latest of the refurbishments on this stadium. This was to keep it eligible for Champions League finals. And, you know, it's always nice for the Champions League, I'm sure, to have several stadiums under their belt which they can use to host the finals of their matches. Apart from that, it's just what I've already told you, really. The fact that AS Roma and Lazio play their home matches in this stadium, and it's actually, I believe, co-owned by them. So they both have 50% share in the stadium and how it gets used. Apart from that, all I really have to say is that Roma, as I've just said, they have their home matches in this stadium. They actually have plans to leave to another stadium. They want to build their own 52,500 seater stadium across the city, and I believe construction has already been started on that said stadium, and it should be ended by 2016-2017 season, which means that it will just be Lazio in there on their own, and I'm sure they'll like that a lot. But apart from that, as we come back round to the main grandstand, I'd like you to say thanks for watching, and please hit like and subscribe on this video. Hit us up on Twitter and Facebook at FM Stadium Tour. Also visit our very own website, www.fmstadiumtour.com. And again, after that, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Laters!